Joining me now to discuss is Pennsylvania Congressman Guy Reschenthaler and Tennessee Congressman Scott Deschanel. Gentlemen, welcome. Congressman Reschenthaler, we'll start with you. Last time we had you on to discuss efforts to remove Ms. Cheney from leadership. Today, she remained defiant, not focusing on the real threats posed by socialist Democrats, but sticking to her claim that the biggest threat to America is President Trump. What do you say?
It was absolutely the right call to remove Liz Cheney from House leadership. And as you know, I whipped votes against Liz all last week, and we built the momentum on this. But here's why. Although the Republican Party is the big tent party, we have ideas, we have disagreements. That's understood. But the fact that Liz Cheney held the #3 post in that House Republican Party, the House Republican Conference, the fact that her job was messaging, being in effect the spokesperson for House Republicans, and every time Liz got in front of the camera, in front of a reporter, the story was always about Trump. It was always about November 2020. It was always looking backward. That's not how we're going to retake the House. It's not how we're going to retake the Senate. We're going to do it by focusing on the future and also focusing on the failure that is the Joe Biden administration. We're not talking about the border crisis when we're talking about Liz Cheney and Donald Trump in their dispute. We're not talking about all the chaos that's going around in the world. We're not talking about the Keystone XL pipeline cancellation, the attack on the Colonial pipeline. There is so much out there that we can be attacking Democrats on. We should be circling the wagons, focusing outward. Unfortunately, wasn't only not circling the wagons, she was actually attacking other Republicans and constantly looking backward. That's why she had to be removed from House leadership.
Congressman Deschanel, great to meet you. First time you and I have spoken. Cheney said she vows to never let Trump near the Oval Office. Trump responded by saying he can't wait to watch her as a paid contributor on CNN, which was great. Who is winning this fight for the soul of the Republican Party, Cheney and the Surrender Caucus, or Trump, the Trump wing, that actually believes the GOP should treat Democrats as an opposition party?
Yeah, well, I mean, good luck with that for Liz. First, Chris, you're right, but thank you for taking down your preamble. Dumb people are running the country before putting myself and Guy on with you. I appreciate that. Clearly, Liz lost touch with what her job was. You just ran through what her job, and Guy did too. We got a crisis at the border. Israel's got rockets raining down on them. We've got gas lines. We've got threats all over the world with Russia, China, Iran. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about CNN telling us how the Republicans have one member that gets it, and that we're all liars, and she's the only one telling the truth. So we fired Liz Cheney, according to them, for telling the truth. This coming from a media that, as you pointed out in your preamble, has spent the last 4 years trying to unseat a duly elected president, never accepted the results of that election, had FBI, DOJ involvement, had an insurance policy, had impeachments, had the phony Russian hoax, had the phony Russian bounties on troops in Afghanistan that they let Biden use. We had the Hunter Biden story that they killed. We have big tech suppressing us. And so it's almost hilarious to hear the double standard of them using Liz Cheney to villainize Republicans when there was a problem with this election. There were rules that were changed. They like to use the word, it's a lie that Trump said the election was stolen. But we know that rules were changed in several states that probably and likely did change the outcome of the election. And we've never really gotten a chance to investigate that fully.
No, and apparently Liz Cheney doesn't keep up with the news. As you gentlemen probably know, Michigan has already been found. The Secretary of State there violated Michigan's election laws. And a lot of Americans say, wait a minute, there's got to be a consequence for that. I mean, when I break the law, I got to pay the consequences. Why doesn't Michigan's government have to? A different discussion for a different day. Congressman Reschenthaler, a new Trafalgar poll showing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis ranks second in GOP popularity, right behind Trump. We know he is feared by the biased press after CBS tried to kneecap him with a fake news story. What is your sense about DeSantis?
Well, I know Ron DeSantis. I actually served in the Navy JAG Corps with Ron. He was, in fact, a judge in one of the cases I had. I have nothing but respect for Governor DeSantis. But the fact that he did such a good job handling this pandemic in Florida, a state that is the second oldest state in the union, I believe second just behind New Hampshire, if I stand corrected. But regardless, he did a great job fighting COVID with a population that was relatively older than the rest of the country. Also, he's the one that is willing to fight back against the press. He's much more like Trump than he is other Republicans, because he's willing to take the fight and push back, and he's smart enough and quick enough to do it. But with DeSantis coming out in the polls second behind Trump with such a large lead, he's now public enemy number one for the mainstream media. You're going to see a smear campaign against Ron DeSantis like you've never seen in recent history, because the Democrats fear him. The fact that so many people see what he did in Florida, the fact that he is a fighter like President Trump, he is now to be feared, and you're going to see the mainstream media come after him.
Congressman Deschanel, I owe you a question the next time you and I speak. It's a pleasure having you. Congressman Guy Reschenthaler, longtime friend of the program. We'll talk again soon.